Good day. This is your PowerPoint presentation for numeracy and mathematics NM21 for the year 2022. My name is Mrs. Pinar. There you can have my contact details. What is your table of contents? Meaning, what should you give a lot of attention to when you do your studying? First of all, the development of pre-primary numeracy, the development of learners' understanding of numbers, their symbols and values, how to develop learners' ability to identify features of objects and then classify them, how to develop learners' observation of patterns, sequence and ordinal numbers, how to develop an understanding of spatial awareness, then the 4 basic operations in mathematics and also problem solving, the measurement of time, length, mass and capacity, also 2 as well as 3-dimensional shapes, and data analysis, and lastly the teaching and learning activities and materials for pre-primary and primary numeracy and mathematics. The activities to understand mathematical concepts. A concept that we are going to explain to you now is sequencing. What do I understand by sequencing? What do I want my learner to understand by sequencing? And how will I explain sequencing to my learners? First of all, in our primary phase, we should be very active with our learners. All activities or most of our activities should be done practically. For our learners to understand better, we should do everything practically. Now when it comes to sequencing, what is sequencing? Sequencing is simply to put things in order. So I can use counters, I can use bottle caps. Sometimes we don't have the money to buy materials, but things like this we can pick up and we can use this also. So sequencing usually starts where the teacher forms a sequence. So as a teacher, I start by putting 2 blue bottle caps and 1 yellow. 2 blue bottle caps and 1 yellow. And then I would ask my learner to continue. So the learner will continue. The learner will see that every time he needs to put 2 blue bottle caps and then 1 yellow. So this is how we can do sequencing in class. Very practical. When it comes to classifying, color, shape and size. How do I explain classifying? Classifying meaning to put things together that have the same attributes. So when it comes to color, I can have as many different objects. And I ask my learner to find all the red objects. So the learner will find anything that is red, no matter what the shape or size is. Here, the attribute is color, so I will just explain color. So as a teacher, I show my child, this is red. So look for any shapes, any size, as long as it has this color. So the learner will go out and find anything that is red. No matter the shape or the size or what, the learner just concentrates on the color. This is how I explain color. And like I said, we can make use of bottle caps and anything and any red thing that I can get hold of. As a teacher, when I do color, if I can dress in that color that I explained that day, so that the learners just concentrate on one color per week. So I can dress, I can even ask the learners to dress up at the end of the week. Everybody put on red t-shirts or whatever, so that the color stuck in their head. Very, very practical. I should explain this to them. Same applies to shape. So now I will find all squares or all circles. So now the learner will, from all my objects that I put in front of him, the learner will find something that is round. So everything that is round, no matter the color, everything that is round, the learner will go out and go find all the objects that is in the shape of a circle. Doesn't matter the size, like I said. So there we have it. Here we only concentrate now on the attribute circle. So color doesn't matter, it's the shape that matters. Another concept for classifying is size. Again, color doesn't matter, shape doesn't matter. Now we only concentrate on the size. So everything with the same size, any object with the same size, I go out and I go find all my objects that have the same size. All my objects that have the same size, I go find and I put them together. So color doesn't matter, shape doesn't matter, it's only size that matters in this case. So that is how I can explain to my learners color, shape or size. The next concept is counting. For our learners, it is easy to do ratio counting. But when it comes to rational counting, it becomes a problem. So how do I give them or explain to them rational counting where they have to have one object that is counted for each number? So what I have done here, I have created an egg box. This egg box can be used for many purposes. I can take my bottle caps and I ask my learner to put all my blue bottle caps that I have found inside my egg box. Now the learner has done the concept of coloring, and in the same way I can now ask the learner to count how many objects he has found, how many bottle caps he has found that has the color blue. So the learner goes 1. The learner should feel the object when he counts the object. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So now the learner has mastered the concept of counting. He has 5 counters. So in the same time, I show him the number 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He can count the dots as well. He has 5 bottle caps. He sees the symbol for 5. He counts the dots 5. And then I now show him how do we write 5. So the learner count the number of objects. He sees the symbol. He sees the word 5. Thank you. Now, what is subitizing? Subitizing simply means when I can see the number without counting. Usually it's small numbers. And many of us like to play games that involves a dice or involves dominoes. So this is simply subitizing. Subitizing. You throw the dice, you ask the learner. The learner don't need to count the dots. The learner can immediately see the number of dots. So this is subitizing, to immediately recognize the small number of items without counting. Again, I stress practical activities is very important. How to develop pre-primary or primary numeracy? Sequencing and ordering. What is sequencing or ordering? Is putting events, ideas, or objects in logical order. To put things in logical order, the way it follows. Now, what are the activities? How can I practice sequencing with my learners? What are the activities? First of all, when it comes to picture sequencing, pictures, learners like to learn through pictures. So, in the example, we have how to put, when you want to make a sandwich, what do you do first? So first of all, you have your bread, you take whatever you want to put on, your jam, you take your 2 sandwiches, and then you make your sandwich. We can have any pictures. For instance, plants. You bring a picture of seeds, where the tree is a little bit bigger, and where the tree is bearing fruit. Just 3 pictures to start with for our smaller learners. And then the learner have to put those pictures in order of sequence. What do we have first? The seeds, then the tree, and then the fruits on the tree. This is sequencing. This is telling my learner how to do sequencing. When it comes to photo sequencing, it's very nice if you can ask the learner to bring photos of himself from when he was a baby, when he crawled, when he started to walk, up to the age of where he is now 5, 6, 7 years old. So now you scramble those photos as a teacher, and then you ask your learners to rearrange those photos in order of the age that the learner was at a specific stage in his life. So that is how I do sequencing practical. Same with letter and number sequencing. I cut out letters, I cut out numbers, and then not a lot, maybe the first 5 numbers or letters of the alphabet, or the first 10 numbers, and then I scramble those numbers and I ask the learners to put them in sequence. Sequencing in daily life. Ask your learner, what do you do when you get up in the morning? What do you do first before you come to school? The learner will explain. He gets up, he goes to the bathroom, he brush teeth, hair, and that is sequencing. This is how we practice sequencing, to show them that sequencing is to put things in order. What are classifying and sorting? When learners group things together using color, size, shape, or kind, exactly what I explained earlier, we do it practically. We take things with the same color, objects with the same color, objects with the same size, objects with the same shape, or objects with the same kind. Like if I have a worksheet with animals and people, same kind. People goes together, animals goes together. Or dresses and trousers. Dresses goes together and trousers goes together. So here I have some examples. Different activities in sorting objects. You group blocks like we did earlier. You group blocks where you use color, shape, or size. Ask them the household items you can have pictures even of fruits and vegetables, and ask them to draw a table and put the fruit one side and the vegetables one side. That is classifying or sorting things. Also using pictures to paste in tables, like what you like and what you dislike. You give the child a lot of pictures, and the child just draw a table where he has his likes and dislikes separately. If you go with your child to the grocery store, ask him which of these products in the grocery store is meat or frozen foods or sweets or whatever you can find in the shop. Right. There is a worksheet on classifying and sorting, like I showed you earlier. This worksheet here has to do with two of the objects do not belong to the set. Find those two objects and circle them. If you look here, most of it has to do with clothing, so we will circle the boat and the drum because they do not belong there. This is sorting or classifying. Another one is draw a line around each set. As you can see, those are horses, these are dogs, cats, and whatever, cows. So you sort them, you put them separately. Whatever belongs together, we put them separately. Right. For the measurement of length, mass, capacity, and time. Again, practical activities are very important. Quickly want to show you some, while we say practical activities are so important. I have 3 strings here. 3 strings here. They are in different positions. The one is curled, the one is slightly curled, and the one is straight. If you ask your learner, identify the longest string, most learners will show the green string because of what the eye sees. The eye sees that the green string is longer than the red one, and the red one is longer than the yellow one. If we do comparison, if we compare these strings, we will immediately see that all 3 strings are of the same length. So these concepts, to do it practically, is a must. Same. Let's take mass. Here I have clay of exactly the same size. But if you ask your learner will tell you that this one weighs more than this one. But they are actually of exactly the same mass and size. Same goes with when we do capacity. I have water in this bottle and I have this bottle. So if I ask my learner, or I rather show my learners, if I throw this water into this bigger container, it seems that it's actually less than what it was. So to prove to the learners that they are the same, we have to do our activities practically in class. So the process of measuring, when we measure, like I showed you now, whether it's length, mass, or capacity, in preschool phase or in primary phase, we must see this process of comparing attributes and objects. We use non-standard measuring units. We do not make you speak about kilograms and grams and meters and millimeters or liters and milliliters. We do not use the measuring units. We just For mass, we say heavy, heavier the heaviest. For length, long, longer the longest. And when we speak about capacity, it is either full, half full, or empty. Those are the only units of measurement that we use for these learners. So no measuring instruments are to be used in this phase. We don't use rulers or scales in this phase. So how do we teach then the concept of length? So learners start by using non-standard objects to measure with. They start by using their feet to measure the width or the length of the classroom, or the hand span. 1, 2. This is how, or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. These, what is on hand, what they have, this is what they should use. So they can use their feet or their hands, or I can use, make use of counters, whatever. Even make use of counters. What is the length of this? 2 of those counters. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of these counters. These are the measuring instruments that we use in class. I have examples for you there. They have blocks that side. Here we have paper clips for the length of the hand. Blocks this side. So we use what we have in class so that they can practically see length. Now mass. When I talk about mass, the best for the learner to practice mass, what is heavy and what is light, is to compare by pushing, pulling, or hefting. Pushing. Ask the learner to push his desk, and now you ask the learner to come push the teacher's table. Immediately, the learner will tell you it's almost impossible for him to push the teacher's table, but his is much easier. So then, what is the difference? The one is light and the one is heavy. Same with pulling. Pulling his desk, pulling the teacher's table. Hefting. How do we practice hefting? For hefting, you should have something that is heavy and something that is light. So that the learner holds 2 different objects in his hand, and the learner feels that this object is heavier than this object. The learner can feel using his hands. Right. How to teach the concept of time? Please, in this stage of their education, they do not make use of clocks and watches. So how do we teach time then? In pre-primary education, we measure time as long and short periods of time. For instance, how long is it, or how do you feel how long is it when you stay at home on a Saturday, or when you are in school on Monday? Which one is longer? The one when you are at home for the whole of Saturday, or the day that you are at school? They will now understand, okay, Saturdays when I'm at home, it's longer than the hours that I am at school. Time of the day, like in morning time, they are at school mostly. Afternoons, they go home. Evenings, they are at home. So time of the day, not the time on the watch, but evening, morning, and afternoon, or day and night. Days of the week, in our classes, in the morning when we start the day with what day is it? Good morning class, what day is it today? What day was it yesterday? What day will it be tomorrow? So these are the concepts, how they learn the concept of time. So every day we should do the days of the week. Also months of the year. They should also be taught the months of the year, all 12 months. Now, what are the activities that we can do for them to grasp a concept of time? We create calendars. There's an example. We make some calendars in the class. And on our calendar, we can have for the birthday groups for a specific month. So we can have photos of the learners who has their birthdays on a specific month. So on our calendars we can have that. And we also use timely words, like I said, yesterday, today, tomorrow. We can make use of books that has to do with time. And then also what is nice is to make a countdown chain. So they make a chain, for instance, for when they start off in January for Independence Day. So every day they get rid of one of the links. So the smaller the chain becomes, the closer it gets to Independence Day. Those are the examples that we can use. Right, what is rote counting? This is developed first, whereby the learners just recite the numbers. So from very small, parents teach their learners how to count 1 up to 10, 1 up to 20. That is rote counting, just by memory, saying the numbers by memory without even realizing how much 10 is. The learner just know 1 up to 10. Now the next stage of rational counting is now a higher level of 1-to-1 correspondence, where the child knows, if I say 5, the child knows he needs to go get 5 objects. So he can add the number to a number of objects, 1-to-1 correspondence. Now what are the advantages of counting for us? First, on national level. On national level, usually we have the census form that needs to be filled. So on national level, the completion of census in order in order to count the population and to make provision of services. Government needs to know how many people there are so that they can provide services like roads, hospitals, etc. Local level, measuring and calculating human traffic and motor vehicle traffic by municipality. And then why do I need to know how to count on a personal level? I need to communicate. I need to solve problems and reasoning. I need to know what my telephone number is so that I can conversate with you. I need to know when I go to the shop what something costs, how much money I must give, and what change do I expect. Counting. Right? Just an example there. How do I teach doubling and halving? Now let's start with doubling. I usually use small numbers. It's easier to explain concepts when we use small numbers. So I have 2 objects. I ask the learner, how would I double these objects? The learner should be able to tell me that because I have 2 objects, 2 objects this side, to double, I also need to have 2 objects on the other side. So now 2 double is equal to 4. The learner can count 1, 2, 3, 4. So doubling, I use objects, I can use counters, I can use my bottle caps. I show them 2 counters and ask them to double, so they will put another 2 counters. What is halving? First of all, we need to know at this stage they do not use or they do not work with fractions. So it's only whole numbers. So to explain halving, we need to use even numbers only. So it's 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. But like I already said, we should use small numbers. So now, I give the learner 4 counters or 4 bottle caps. I ask the learner, how will I be able to halve these? Halve, the learner understands that halving means dividing by 2. So 1 for that one, 1 for this one, 1 for that one, 1 for that one. So now the learner sees, when I halve, I divide my number of items by 2. So if I have 4, I divide it by 2, which will give me 2. So this is how I teach them how to halve. Then I also get different learning styles. Not all my learners learn in the same way. We sit with different learners in our classes. Some of them learn visually. Some of them learn by hearing. Some of them pick up things more when they touch things, by feeling things. How will I identify my learner that learn better visually, meaning by seeing, visually meaning by seeing? This learner will prefer images. They want to see things. They want to see drawings. They want to see pictures. They want to see maps. Then he learns better. They can visualize objects. They usually have a good spatial sense of what is going on around them. They are also the ones that usually love drawing. When you see the ones drawing all the time, you should know that those learners learn better by seeing things. They also have mostly a good sense of dress and color balance. Now, how will I identify the learner that learns better through hearing? This learner that learns better by hearing depend on hearing and speaking. They are the ones that talk all the time, because that is how they learn, through hearing and speaking. So this learner should be able to hear to learn effectively. So put the learner closer to you so that the learner can hear you better, so that the learner can learn effectively. How do I identify the learner that learns through touching? This is the learner that learns by experiencing, doing things. They are always busy with their hands. They build things. They take the blocks, they take the clay. They are always the ones that's busy with their hands. So when you, as a teacher, is just talking all the time, this learner will become bored, because this learner needs to experience the world and act out events. Now, what is visual discrimination? It's the ability to see the difference and or similarities between objects around us, enabling us to understand and interpret the world around us better, to see the differences and or similarities. Let's take these objects that I have here. So, what are the differences of these objects? You ask the learner, what are the differences? They are mostly of different colors. But what are the similarities of these same objects? They are all round. They are all circles. So visual discrimination is when you ask your child, what do you see is a difference, what do you see are similar. Right, now what are the roles of visual discrimination? The learners must be able to distinguish between different letters in order to read and write words. For example, the B and the P, or the B and the D. Many learners are confused with the B and the D. So visual discrimination helps these learners to see the differences and the similarities between objects, like letters in this case. And then learners must be able to distinguish between different numbers, symbols, and names. Right. Learners that have difficulty with visual discrimination. How would I identify the learner that has difficulty with visual discrimination? The one that has difficulty with B, P, or D, those letters. They are the learners that may not be able to dress themselves. They are the ones that cannot distinguish the similarities and differences in the formation of letters. And they are the ones that cannot distinguish between the size of letters or objects. If they cannot tell you that these objects are of a different size, you can classify that learner as a learner that has difficulty with visual discrimination. Right, now what is form constancy? Form constancy. Constancy, when something is constant, when it's the same. It is the ability that allows you to understand that a shape or object stays the same even if you view it from a different direction or in different environment or with different size. Again, the objects here in front of me. It's the ability that allows you to understand that the shape or object stays the same. They are all circles. Even if you look for it from a different direction, from far from you, from closer to you, or in a different environment. This circle is in front of me is the same circle that is in the class, same circle that is at home. So how can I help my learner? The activities that I can give to my learner. I cut out shapes, different shapes, and then group them so that the learner can arrange them from big to small. Yeah, big to small. The learner arrange them from big to small. This is how I help my learner. And then I ask the learners to point objects in the class that looks like a certain shape. So I ask the learners, now, the shape, can you identify another object in class that is the same shape? The learner might say the clock in the class, maybe the teacher's plate on the table, whatever round objects there are in class, so they identify. And then obviously I can make use of worksheets, like the one that I have there. So form constancy, the worksheet says, circle the matching shape on each line. So the learner will find the matching shape that is in each line and circle the correct one. What are ordinal and cardinal numbers? An ordinal number tells the position. Mboma, our athlete, she's first. They all know Mboma. Tell them she's first. That is ordinal number. First, second, third. Cardinal numbers, on the other hand, is simple counting. 1, 2, 3, 4. So they should know the difference between cardinal numbers, which is the ones 1, 2, 3 that we use every day, And then ordinal numbers are position. When they have athletics, whatever, then they talk about first, second, third. What is spatial awareness? This is the ability to understand and interact with the environment around you. The ability to understand and interact with the environment around you. What are the characteristics of learners with poor spatial awareness? They are clumsy, meaning they fall around, they fall over their own feet. They are unable to tell left from right. Turn that side. They have difficulty doing physical activities. They have problems copying patterns and shape. And they have problems interpreting instructions. Now, how do I expand learners' vocabulary of spatial concepts? I play games. I give oral direction, like in the example here. This is how I expand my learners' vocabulary. I say go low. This is of medium height. This is high. Run straight. Run zigzag. Come close. Go far. So it's oral directions. Place toys in position. For instance, go fetch the doll on the table. Build and learn. Classroom labels like door, wall, roof, floor. Partner play, over and under dance, different songs. Father Abraham has many sons. He goes up the mountain, down the mountain. He turns around so we can sing songs and obstacle courses. Right, when it comes to the reading and writing of numbers in words and numerals, please make sure that some of these words have hyphens. And if the hyphen is not there, then the spelling of the word is wrong. Then it doesn't mean the same anymore. All right, data handling. When it comes to data handling, please, first of all, make sure that you check whether it has a key. Let me give you, this is a tally chart. A tally chart has 1, 2, 3, 4, and then the fifth one is when I draw a line through those 4, it's 5, 6, as you can see there. This is a bar graph. All the information is there. And this is a pictograph. A pictograph or pictogram with pictures. It has pictures. And usually a pictogram has a key that tells you whatever presents what. The picture presents how many on your graph. All your information for the bar graph is on the graph. Right? When it comes to 2D shapes, you have to know the shapes, how to draw them, and you also have to know their properties. Please, it goes for 3D shapes as well. Know your shapes and know each one's properties. When it comes to Bloom's taxonomy, Bloom's taxonomy only tells us the 3 levels of difficulty. It's a basic knowledge and comprehension skills, it's application and analysis, and then evaluation and critical thinking. And we have to know what verbs we should use for which level when it comes to Bloom's taxonomy. Right, just quickly, activities that develop eye-hand coordination. Let your child color in a lot. Let them do trace on dotted lines. Let them cut pictures with a scissor all the time. Catch and kick a ball. Skipping with a rope. Working with clay. Let them work with the clay. And string beads. small and big. String beads. Let them string beads. Alright, we are almost to the end. Calculate time. I'm just going to do one example quickly. We have 4 hours, 25 minutes, plus 1 hour, 55 minutes. Right. All I do, I group my hours first. I have 4 hours and 1 hour, and then I have 25 minutes plus 55 minutes. I group the minutes and the hours. Now I have 5 hours. 25 plus 55 is equal to 80 minutes. Right, what next? I know that 80 minutes are more than an hour because 60 minutes is equal to 1 hour. So now I subtract my 60 minutes. I'm left with 20 minutes, and my 60 minutes was equal to an hour. So now I have 6 hours, 20 minutes. I'm concluding. Right, your assignment instructions. Assignments are done online. Please follow the online instructions. Show all your steps and calculations. You need to show all your steps to get full marks. Examination instructions. Questions should be answered on the question paper. The mark allocation is a guideline for the time needed to answer each question. Write neatly and legible. Use only a dark or blue pen. Pencils are only used when you do graphs and diagrams. No pencil work will be marked. Show all your calculations again. Right, and no unauthorized materials to be taken with you into the exam room. I thank you. Good luck.